Hello and welcome to Doing Business in Rwanda. I am Irene Birunji Mugisha. The Rwanda services sector is seen as a key pillar of the economy, which will propel the country into a middle-income country by 2012. Tourism, education and ICT have traditionally been the core of the services sector. However, knowledge-based industries such as financial services, logistics and healthcare are fast emerging with equal importance. The first ever Service Investment Forum was a watershed event in the Rwanda's tertiary sector. The conference held in Kigali last month convened business communities and policymakers with the purpose of attracting capital into knowledge-based services and unleashing opportunities in the sector.
Rwanda has got lots of assets: the political, social and economic stability, the leadership, which has formulated a vision to transform Rwanda from where it is today to become a middle-income economy in 2020. Now I think the mission is to transform that vision into a strategy, into a concrete action plan that will deliver on what the political leadership and the country has decided. And there are various ideas that are being discussed, from making of Rwanda a finance hub, a trade and transport logistic, a center for knowledge. And you need to invest in institutions, you need to invest in people, and you need to invest in infrastructure. Rwanda is ideally located geographically. You are in the center of Eastern and Central Africa, and Rwanda can play a significantly important role as a regional player in education, in health, in ICT, in BPO, in trade and in finance.
The Services Investment Forum is to demonstrate the importance of the services sector to Rwanda's economic development plans. We have a 5-year medium-term strategy called the EDPRS2, where we would like Rwanda to become a middle-income status and to grow by 11.5% GDP. Now, to do that, we have identified that the services sector is the one that is going to drive this growth. We expect almost a 14% annual growth of the services sector, and we expect that by the next 5 years, the services sector should contribute 55% of the economy, which today is about 45%. So clearly, for us, in order to reach the economic development that we want to reach, which is to become a middle-income status country, the services sector needs to grow fast and needs special attention. So that is why we decided to hold an investment conference that focuses on the services sector, so that we can show business communities from within Africa and beyond the opportunities we have in these services sectors.
Services Investment Forum is a platform that we hope will gather together both investors and local operators. Definitely the plan of the country is to move into a service-based economy. We thought that organizing such an event will create a milestone every year and to remind our business community, the government, the policymakers, that we are ready to move in the service-based economy.
The forum was timed to supplement Rwanda's development goals for the next 5 years, gross domestic product per capita of $1,240 by 2017, and sustain economic growth at 11.5%.
Rwanda has a very conducive environment to do business. Rwanda today is ranked the 3rd easiest place to do business in Africa, and that is because it is easier than in many economies to have, for example, land registered, to have construction permits if you want to build, to have land transferred. It's very easy to lodge a case in court, a commercial dispute, and have it resolved within 100 days. If you want to register a company, it takes 6 hours. It's the 8th easiest place in the world to register a company in Rwanda. So these governance and these business reforms that we've done make Rwanda one of the top 3 hotspots to invest in Rwanda, and we think this makes Rwanda attractive for investments.
We have our traditional services in Rwanda that we promoted and that we somehow developed I mentioned the ICT, which really enable the infrastructure to fast track other services. We also have tourism, which has been developed as a high-end tourism, gorilla. But now, beyond those traditional services, we are focusing a lot on financial services, logistics, and health services.
Areas of discussion during the forum tackled issues such as establishing a regional financial center, revamping transport and logistics services, strengthening ICT infrastructure, and improve the healthcare services. The last effort in a bid to position the country as a medical tourism destination.
Our concern today, and this is we're engaging with the Minister of Finance and RDB, is how do we attract other forms of financial services, the funds, the equity funds, the startup funds. I think that's where we are concerned more than having an international plan, because we think our banks are already doing a great job, and with ICT today, we are all becoming a global village. So while we talk of some of these banks we have here as maybe regional or local, they are connected to these international brands. So anything you want to trade with the international brands, you can easily do it through either the regional banks we have here or the local banks we have here. So I think our main concern is really trying to attract the other sources of financing and investment bankers and the like that could really support the financing that we require to grow this economy.
We want Rwanda to become a world-class health services, promoting medical tourism. We've been able to attract an eye care center on the ground, servicing already the region. The eye care is from India, called the Agrawal Hotel, High Hospital, sorry. In the same strategy, we want to develop more specialties in the health sector.
This investment forum was a sort of opportunity both for Rwanda to understand how private investors would look at the services sector, and then how also investors, for opportunities for investors. And I think it's very timely because it's in the services sector. And for me personally, then my interest is in health, and that's health education as well, because I have a university in Uganda. One of the things that Rwanda tends to be known for, if they focus on something, then they want to do it. And I think in the services sector, there's a long way to go if Rwanda is going to build up. But I think if there is really the political will, allied with the right partners, then they can achieve it.
Investment in Rwanda's services sector will be underpinned by successful public-private partnerships.
Government has done a lot, and there's no way we can be talking good services when there is no good policy. The government has put on a good policy. Roadmap has been designed, so we are really very much happy to be in that services, and we are going to make sure that this services is going to attract more visitors, is going to attract also people to move freely from here and there. As we are a member of the East African community, this will be a good achievement for a country, especially like Rwanda.
Rwanda is different from many African countries in the sense that it is, how can you say, you need to work with government. If you can come in as a private investor and just do your own thing. But if you want to be involved significantly, then you need to know what the government is thinking and where they're going. And then if your particular niche will fit in with that. Now, obviously Rwanda has made very large strides in terms of building up their GDP and so on. But it's still a small economy. And it's still a landlocked country and it still has very many challenges. I mean, but then again, if you look back over the last 19 years, you wouldn't have given Rwanda much hope. And so where they've arrived at today, even in terms of what they were saying, the target, what was it, 35% of the people should be employed in the service sector, and they're at 45% if you take tourism and so on.
Rwanda's 6 priority services subsectors are financial services, ICT, logistics, healthcare services, tourism and education. The forum showcased trade and investment opportunities in the sectors as well as an opportunity to discuss policy issues to improve the business environment.
I think the government of Rwanda and RDB in organizing this conference is actually doing this, is to bring stakeholders from outside Africa, from the region, and also the Rwandese people, to understand basically what is the strategy, what is the vision, and what is being done in order to improve and sharpen the competitiveness of Rwanda. And it's also a learning process. You exchange views and ideas. And one of the things that will happen is that you tap on the expertise and the experience and the knowledge of people who come here. Because as I said, this is a highly competitive world, and maybe by sharing expertise and experience, you can improve and sharpen basically the competitiveness of Rwanda as an investment destination.
So the outcome of such a forum, the Service Investment Forum, is to make sure we link both investors that we invited in those respective sectors, policymakers, so that we understand what are the challenges for them to invest in Rwanda and that we can ease the process, but also to create linkages between them and our local business operators. The whole point is, once you've done such a gathering, we now start engaging discussion on what is hindering the growth of that sector. And then us as governments, we're now tackling the issues.
Rwanda has undergone years of reconciliation following the 1994 genocide period, which claimed 1 million Rwandese. The country is building strategic systems and reforms which promote sustainable economic growth and a stable political environment.
I've seen many changes since the end of genocide. In terms of education, the number of children who go to school is increasing. And we have development in technology. We have development in agriculture. We have development in many domains.
You also need to build a brand that Rwanda will be remembered for, because this is a flat world. It's very crowded, what you want to do, and competition is very hot. So you need to have a real unique set of competitive advantages that you can go around and tell people to come and invest in Rwanda. I think the political will is there, the leadership is there, the vision is there. Now what you need is the entire population, to transform this vision into concrete actionable plan and go out and sell it and market it and promote it.
They have had a good growth of the tertiary education sector, and they have good 97% of basic education. But someone very insightfully said, you know what, we need to get pre-primary education. If our children are not taught in the right modern education values and taught to be lifelong learners and so on, there's no point in cramming kids full of facts for 9 years and then they go out into the big bad world and then they're supposed to be critical thinkers. We should start at the beginning. And all that thinking is good, that's right. My question was, who's going to pay for it? Because I did ask the minister afterwards, I said, well, on vocational training, who's going to pay? And he said, well, it's to be the person to pay for it, but the government will definitely come in with subsidies. So we would look for maybe organisations which would provide the education, the modules and so on, but then we as government will then give it, where we know people can't afford, then we will subsidise the fees. And if there are sufficient subsidies, that's good. Because my experience obviously of Africa is that there's always plenty of need, but what's the ability to pay? I could say in the health sector, there's an infinite amount of pathology and disease, there's an infinite amount of demand, but what's the ability to pay?
Service Investment Forum mapped out steps for Rwanda to place itself as the services sector hub in the region and on the African continent.
Rwanda actually initiated the setting up of the East African Tourism Platform. So we do have a private sector platform that represents all the apex bodies in the 5 countries, that creates a basis for interaction on a higher level with governments as concerns the one visa or one destination. So it's really a very positive development.
The possibility for community trade within East Africa, everyone knows that is theoretically there and theoretically possible. And we had actually a meeting 2 weeks ago with the Rwanda president, the Uganda president and Kenyan president, and they were addressing issues of oil pipelines, railway infrastructure, and speed of delivery of goods from the coast. And this is obviously a bigger problem the deeper you get inland, like Rwanda. But if there's the will and if there's the lobby from the different governments to ensure that they're getting as good a slice of the pie as possible, then a lot of things, this cost of doing business and so on, can come down. So to me, it needs to focus at the political level. And this level is not just the elected politician, but it's people like the RDB and the actual ministries and so on. And there needs to be a concerted effort that says, no, we want the best deal for our country. And you can overcome these problems. But I see there's a slow moving toward really a common market, but it's at different speeds.
Rwanda has identified key opportunities in the financial services sector, and then ICT, including business process outsourcing. We also have medical services, including medical tourism, where we would like to provide medical services to the region from within Rwanda, and also general tourism and transport and logistics.